What's happening YouTube? Hope you're doing well. It's me, Chef Guzman. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how you can start your very own food business from the comfort of your own home. But before we get into the video, I'd love it if you could please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Welcome to my series, Figuring It Out with me, Chef Guzman. Whilst hotels, pubs, bars and restaurants have all had to shut down temporarily, many businesses have adapted to opening into takeaways and deliveries during the COVID-19 pandemic. This has also led to a spur of startup and takeaway food delivery businesses such as ghost kitchens or dark kitchens, but not everyone has had the opportunity to do so. Or do they? It is in fact possible to start a very small food or takeaway business from the comfort of your own home with very minimal capital, provided you're willing to put the work in, as with any business. And while the steps in this video are very useful, I think it's really important to note that even though you might be starting a food business from home, every opportunity has its costs and its risk. And it's down to you to decide what you want to take away from it or what you want to do with this. This might not be a ticket to financial freedom or replace your salary. It could even just be a side hustle for extra income. But if you do take these steps seriously enough, these could be the first steps into taking a food business into something much bigger in the near future. So without further ado, here's 9 practical steps that you can use to start your very own food delivery business from the comfort of your own home. Step number 1, register your kitchen with your local council and do your due diligence. If you want to start any legitimate food business here in the UK, you have to register your kitchen with your local council. This is so that they can inspect your premises and making sure that you are providing all the due diligence and care necessary and that your premises is suitable for you to be able to produce food. Many people think that they need a commercial property to set up their own food business, but this is simply not the case. The council will want to inspect your premises to make sure that it is suitable for food production. They will look for general food hygiene, good practices and making sure that you're doing all the due diligence necessary to make sure food production is safe and of the right standard. To register your kitchen or food business with your local council, you simply need to go to the GOV UK website and search for food business registration. All you need to do is write or type in your postcode and it will come up with your local council. There it will give you a link to go to the local council to apply directly. It is important to note that you should register your business with your local council at least 28 days before trading. But don't worry if you haven't. If you're already trading, just make sure you do this straight away. Great. Once you've registered your food business, you now need to go through the process of your due diligence to make sure that you're up to date and you're doing all the legal things necessary to produce food safely. One of those things is obtaining a level 2 food hygiene certificate. It is a requirement that you have at least a level 2 food hygiene certificate to show that you are a certified food handler and that you have the right basic knowledge and understanding of food hygiene and safety. You can visit a website called NCASS, which stands for National Caterers Association, where you can find loads of free resources on how you can get your level 2 food hygiene certificate. And the website is also really useful for providing any food safety systems. I'd really highly recommend going there. I used NCASS for setting up my own street food business, Turo. And they provide kind of like a general folder for all of the necessary processes for your food business, which keeps you legally compliant. Okay, great. So you've registered your kitchen with your local council and you have obtained your level 2 food hygiene certificate. Now we need to move on to step 2, figuring out what you actually want to make and sell. I would simply break this step into just 3 categories. A, if you're passionate about a particular product or skill, or there's something that you know that you can really make better than anyone else, go for it, just sell that. B, research your local market. Speak to the people around you, people who live nearby you. Is there something that they're craving? Is there something that is missing in the market? Fill that gap, give it to the people, give them what they want. And C, if you've got something that ticks A and B, something that you know that the market needs, that you are passionate about, then you're probably onto a winner. This is definitely something that I would go for. Something that I would also really consider when deciding what to make and sell is the layout and size of your kitchen. Ideally, if you've got equipment already to make whatever product it is that you're planning to make and sell, that's a great start. It means it's one less thing to invest in as well. So now we move on to step number 3, figuring out your costs and your sale prices. So now that we know what we want to make, we need to know how much it's actually going to cost to produce that and how much we want to sell it for so that we can make a profit. I think it's really important to determine very early on whether your products are going to be very affordable or if they're going to be of the more premium range. So to figure out your basic costs for your food or your products, you're going to need to write a recipe. The more accurate your measurements for your recipe are, not only the more consistent your product, but the more better that your costings will be. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about gross profit in this video. Don't get me wrong, I know gross profit is extremely important when it comes to business. I want to focus more on how you can actually physically get started and focusing on actually making revenue. Do not forget to compare yourselves to others around you so that you can determine where you're going to sit in the market. If you're going to price yourselves as a premium, you better make sure that you're making a product that matches that premium price. And the same goes with more affordable products. Yes, if something's cheaper, it's more likely to be purchased, but that doesn't always mean that you're going to get more purchases. So it's important to figure out your price points so that you know what your target audience is and who you can really sell to in your market. Step number 4, build your brand. Now, I'm certainly not a brand expert. There's definitely a lot of YouTube content out there that you can search up about how you can create your brand. Some of the questions that I would recommend asking yourself when considering creating a brand is, number 1, what does your brand represent? Your brand represents who you are, what you do, and what values you have. And this should reflect in how your brand looks and feels. Number 2, does the brand reflect what you sell? So you want to make sure that if you're selling, for example, let's just say you are a meal prep company that does healthy vegetarian or vegan dishes only, you're going to want a brand that looks vibrant, minimalist, something that just connotes health values, something that looks like it is going to be healthy. 3, how does your brand make your customers feel? This really ties in with the last 2 points. You want your customers to feel a certain way, right? Whether it's empowered, healthy, luxurious, your brand needs to also look a certain way so that your customers will feel a certain way. So when you're considering your brand name or what you want your brand to look like, really consider those questions. Think about how you want to connect and engage with the customer, how you want your customers to feel. Step 5, design your logo. You can either do it on your own or you can leave it to an expert. Personally, I would leave it to someone who knows what they're doing. If you've got a graphic designer friend, that's amazing, that's great. Maybe they can do it for you at a slightly cheaper rate. Step number 6, do not wait, start marketing before you launch. I think so many people think that they need to only start marketing when they've actually launched. It's actually really helpful to do marketing beforehand for a few reasons. Pre-marketing not only builds your brand, it gives people expectations of you and your business, and I think this is healthy. It just gets people excited, and that added pressure kind of forces you to deliver. It makes you want to oh, we've got to get this out there. We've got to make sure we're ready for our customers. The more you do pre-marketing, the more attention and excitement you build up to the launch. And this should be converted into sales. Doing any sort of pre-marketing or advertisement is always a great way to engage with your potential customers. You can find out what they want very early on as well this way. This kind of ties in with what I mentioned about how you should do some research into your local area market and speak to people about what they want. This is already marketing. The more engagement you do with your audience beforehand, the more likely you are going to be able to deliver something that is really going to be what they want, and the more likely you are going to get repeat sales from this. Step number 7, set yourself up to take payments. It's most likely that as someone who's starting a small business from home, you're most likely going to start off as someone who is self-employed. As opposed to having an actual company. You can take payments through a normal bank account. You don't necessarily need a business bank, but I will say it's important that you separate your self-employed income from your regular income. If you're working, make sure that you have another account or card that can take separately the business transactions. Any payments specifically for your food business at home, it should be all separate in one other account. So with that in mind, it's very easy to actually get yourself to start taking payments. All you really need to do is do some research on some merchant services. You've got, the popular ones such as like iZettle or SumUp, take payments. There's quite a few out there. They all kind of do the same thing. Everyone's got competitive rates, so it's really up to you. I personally use a company called Square. I really love them because of the usage of their platforms. It's just really easy to process transactions and payments. It's very flexible. I just really enjoy using them. If you're interested in looking into them, I'll pop a little link down below and you can look them up. But from a home perspective, you're most likely going to be taking orders either directly on the phone, maybe through social media or through a website. So those merchant services usually provide solutions for all of those. And if you're just taking cash, that's fair enough. These days people want to do contactless, especially given the whole corona thing. People want distancing, so that's up to you. Number 8, set your kitchen up for daily operation. In other words, make sure you're organized. This is really important now because we're now starting to look into the more physical operation side of things. Making sure that your kitchen is organized and set up for production is so important because it ultimately affects exactly how many products you can produce. One thing you need to really understand when you're setting up a kitchen at home for a food business is that it's also going to be used on a daily basis by your household. So people are going to be coming in, having dinners and doing their normal thing. It can be frustrating at times, I'm not going to lie. To be honest, that's just something that you need to put up with. You could say that's just one of the cons of doing business from at home, but as long as you can put up with those things and you can create a system that incorporates that and that allows for this, then it shouldn't be an issue and you can just crack on. The more immediate things that you can do would be to make a list of things that you need. So you're going to want to itemize and make a list of all the things you need on a day-to-day basis. So whether it's takeaway containers, cutlery, napkins, all the ingredients you need for your recipes, sauce pots, chopsticks, takeaway bags. So the sooner you have those items in a list, the easier it is going to be for you to organize where you want them in your kitchen and what you might need replenishing as well. Clean and organize your kitchen. Now, as a food handler, it's so vital that we are preparing food from a hygienic standpoint. These days, people really do look into your food hygiene rating to decide whether they want to purchase or not. Maybe like 10 years ago, this wasn't as maybe important, but nowadays people are definitely more conscious and wary of where they buy their food from. You're going to want to make sure you get that 5-star, I would say at least a 4-star for your food hygiene rating to make sure that you're doing things legally and safely. That's just a must. If you're not willing to do that, then you shouldn't be in the food business. So when you're organizing your kitchen, you also want to kind of separate your kitchen into key areas. It's just going to allow you to do things without having to think too much, and you're going to know that, like, oh, in this section I'm going to do the cooking only. In this section I'm going to do the preparation only, so that raw ingredients and cooked ingredients stay separate. Think about that. Think about working in your home kitchen just like a professional kitchen. And finally, step number 9 is make it happen and sell. It's really down to you now to make it rain. You need to make the sales happen. Too often we get so passionate about our food, but we don't necessarily focus on sales, and sales is what makes any business run. Go out there, speak to people, speak about your product, speak about your services, market yourself, get on social media, advertise your business. You've just got to sell and sell and sell. As long as you're confident in your product and what you produce, once you get those first few customers who are satisfied with your product, they're going to start speaking for you. Word of mouth is the most powerful advertising out there. Hopefully your business will start to build off on its own, and the busier you are, the more help you can get. If you're making enough sales, hopefully you can give a job to someone who might need a job in your local area, and they can help you out and they can help you grow, so that you can focus on growing your business as opposed to just working in the business. Having said that, a few other things that I recommend that you can do is to set yourself targets. Set yourself targets maybe in terms of revenue or followers. Try and beat those targets, and then when you beat those targets, set bigger targets, and you never know where you might end up. Get your friends and family to order from you and make sure that they leave a review for you. You know, these days everything's on social media. If you're not seen on social media, you're not seen at all. The more reviews that you can get on social media, the more positive reviews, shall I say, the more likely it is you're going to be seen by more customers. So there you have it, guys. 9 steps on how you can get started. Let me know if this guide was of use to you. I'd really love to see any kind of success stories about someone who started their own food business. I always encourage doing what you love and following your passion and dreams. If you know someone who's been thinking about it, maybe send them this video, and hopefully it can help them to getting started. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your time. If you did enjoy this video, please leave it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already for more content. Take care, stay safe, wear your mask, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.